Hi, welcome back to Humanity Chats. I am your host, Margi. As you can see on the screen, for those of you who are watching, we are going to be speaking with Heidi Turker today. And World Mental Health Day is October 10th. And so we're going to be talking about mental health and living with dissociative identity disorder. I used to know about this as multiple personality disorder. So I am curious. I'm going to be learning from Heidi just as you are. She is an author, has written a few books. I think you're looking at Heidi's face and you're probably thinking, we want to see you, Margie. So here I am. Hi, friends. This is Margie, your hostess with the mostess. We come to you on Thursdays to talk about everyday issues that impact humans. Let's go. Let me read a bit of Heidi's bio. She has done quite a bit. She will share the true story of a woman named Margie. Oh my goodness. Yes, I promise it's not me, who has encountered horrific abuse and trauma during her childhood. And in Margie's ability to survive, her beautiful young mind split into 15 parts. Oh my goodness, as a protection. Heidi will share Margie's incredible courage and unshakable faith as she rises up from the darkness to share her story with the world. Now let's learn about Heidi. She's an award-winning author and speaker who has won multiple Best Inspirational Awards for her three books, which are The Secret Keepers, Finding Hope in the Journey, and Service Song. Her passion for writing and speaking about light and hope has inspired thousands. She is known as a great storyteller who believes that every story not only teaches an important principle, but can make you feel it. She has inspired many to rise up, cling to their faith, and position their hearts to recognize God's hand in their life. When Heidi isn't writing her next book or speaking at a conference, you'll find her spending time outdoors with her husband, 4 grown children, and 11 grandchildren. She loves sunflowers, hiking, and ice cream, not necessarily in that order. Well, I will go with ice cream first. Goodness, I cannot wait to meet this woman. She sounds like fun. And 11 grandkids. She must have a lot of games up her sleeve because she probably plays with those kids. Oh, I'm eating into Heidi's time. Let's go grab her from the green room. This is Margie Marge. Thanks for joining us, Humanity Chats. We're here with you on Thursdays. Tell a friend to tell a friend, since we're talking about everyday issues that impact us all. Let's go. Hello.
Hi, good to see you, Margie.
Good to see you too, Heidi. I can't believe it. You have 11 grandkids.
Can you believe it? There was one year that I got three in 1 year. So they came in like spurts. I have 4 grown children who are married, and 3 of the 4 have 3 kids, and then another one has 2. So that's 11. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I will be broke.
Yeah, it keeps me busy. It keeps me busy for sure. I love it.
Well, welcome to Humanity Chats. It's great to have you here with us today.
It is so good to be here. Thank you.
Yes. Well, we're going to be learning from you. I know it's dissociative identity disorder. I'm familiar with multiple personality disorder. I think it's the same thing, but it has a new name now. Okay. So I can't wait to learn, and I can't wait for our listeners and viewers to learn more about this. But before we delve into everything, we would love for you to share 3 fun things about your life with us.
3 fun things.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness. I can tell you that I'm what I'm really afraid of, because I'm not very afraid of many things, but I am afraid. I scuba dive with sharks, right? I'll do anything like that. That's just awesome. But I am so afraid of moose. I love to hike in Utah, and I've had a few moose encounters on the trail. And there's nothing that shakes me up like encountering a moose. They're so big. If you haven't seen one in person, they're the size of a horse, and when one corners me on a trail, my hike is over. I'm gonna turn around and back off slowly and head the other direction. So I do love hiking, but I hate encountering moose. And if I hike in Arizona, I don't want to see the rattlesnake either. So the moose and the rattlesnake are two things I try to stay away from. Let's see. My very favorite thing in the world is ice cream. I could eat it every single day. In the summertime, I gravitate towards the fruit ice cream. And in the wintertime, I'm headed for chocolate. So that's my favorite thing. Let's see, one more thing. I love to be outdoors, and I will make an excuse to get outdoors. In fact, there's a good portion of my books that have been written by me speaking into my phone as I'm outdoors, hiking or taking walks. And it's just a way for me to really clear my mind and get out and think and say my prayers and plan my future. It's all done outside. And when I come back to my house, I just document what's in my mind on the computer, what I gained outside. So that's my love, is to be outdoors. Fortunately, I live in the Southwest where the weather is reasonable and I can get outdoors quite often.
Well, Heidi, you sound like a fun person. And well, being outdoors is great. And you mentioned Arizona, and then you mentioned Utah. You get around quite a bit, I
I
can
do.
tell.
Yes. And then I've got two grown children that live in Portland. So I'm venturing up to Oregon now and then too. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Do you ever come up to the East Coast?
I haven't in a while. I haven't been over there in a while, but occasionally a scuba diving trip or something fun like that will bring me over to the East Coast. But I need to take a visit again.
Yeah, there's some great outdoors and great hiking
Yeah.
trails, everywhere in America, I guess.
Yes.
Well, Heidi, it was nice getting to know you a little bit. I'm sorry I can't give you ice cream today, but, but you're here with us. You reached out about wanting to come on the show, and we were booked, but we read your story and we thought, oh my goodness, we need to get her because World Mental Health Day is coming, and she is going to give us some real life knowledge that she has encountered. So please, tell us, what is mental health with what you do? What is mental health?
Well, I've learned about dissociative identity disorder from the person that I wrote the book about. Her name is Margi as well. So Margi in the book, who I wrote about, she contacted me because she had read my first two books, Finding Hope in the Journey and Survey's Song. And we got talking together, and she said, the theme of hope that you put in your stories and in your books, it has just really, really helped me in my life. And like a lot of people, she said to me, people know that I write true stories. And so she said to me, I have a story too. And I said, tell me a little bit about yourself. And so I sat down in a comfortable chair and she started to share her story. And within minutes, I was up scrambling for a piece of paper and a pencil, because quickly I understood that she had been terribly abused. She had been abused sexually, abused emotionally, physically, drug abuse, ritual abuse. I mean, the whole gamut. As a child, just a terrible, terrible trauma situation. And and she helped me understand that she lives with dissociative identity disorder. It's called DID for short. And that used to be called multiple personality disorder, but we don't call it that anymore. And quickly I understood that that's what she had. And so in the conversation, I heard the abuse and I heard the darkness that she had come from. But at the same time, I heard this amazing gratitude for life and for all the beauty that she sees every day. I could just feel it coming from her in the way that she described things. She's so grateful for so many blessings and things in her life. That's what caught my attention. As an inspirational writer, I'm generally not interested, in those dark subjects. I've sort of veered away from those a little bit. But what I heard was hope, and I heard about faith and about clinging to light. What happened to her was dark, but she was light, and that caught my attention. And so we agreed to meet, and within the first few minutes of talking with her in person, I knew that I had my next book. And so it took me a couple of years to learn her story, to really understand DID, because I wanted to do it justice. I wanted to understand it and to help not only survivors out there who suffer from DID, but also I wanted to educate and enlighten the public to have a better understanding of what DID looks like and why people would have that, why our brains do that.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Now, viewers, listeners, the objective of World Mental Health Day is to raise awareness of mental health issues around the world and to mobilize efforts in support of mental health. And so, as you are thinking about mental health issues, you should know that everybody in this world is apt to come into contact with somebody who has some type of mental health issue. And what Heidi is talking to us is talking about today is the dissociative identity disorder. She's going to explain it further to us, but if you're not familiar with World Health Mental Day, this year, the day will be providing an opportunity for all stakeholders working on mental health issues to talk about their work and what more needs to be done to make mental health care a reality for people worldwide. As you all know, with the stress that is going on all around the world, the pandemic, and we keep saying it's sickness, loss of jobs. There's so much that's going on, and we're going to learn more about Margi's story as Heidi shares it in her book, and learn how this trauma can actually affect people. Now, Heidi, please, can you tell us more about dissociative identity disorder and how it presents?
Yes, it's actually what's interesting that I learned about is that, Margie's brain was completely healthy when she was born as a young, beautiful girl. And it was the trauma and the continued and relentless abuse from which there was no escape on a repetitive daily basis that caused her mind to essentially protect her. So it's a protection where the brain splits off into different parts, and those parts are identities, and they have jobs, they have names, they have various personalities, and it's their job to take a piece of that abuse. Otherwise, the child might not survive what's happening to them. And so they take that abuse and they keep that from sort of the main host, which was Margi. And so that's what happened in her life. That's why she separated off into these different parts that take pieces of the abuse. The abuse is so large and so all-encompassing that it's too much even for one part. That's why she has multiple parts. They each take pieces of it. And so it's so interesting to understand that about people, that their mind is actually, they were not born with a dysfunctional mind. I see it as an inspirational person. I see it as a beautiful protection that God gave us, this mind that has the ability to do this, to save these innocent children. We also see some dissociative identity disorder in war vets who have seen and been through, really traumatic events. But 90% of DID survivors and victims have been through childhood abuse and trauma. So it's significant in that section of the population. And it's really difficult to live with. And the suicide rate within DID survivors is 70%. Those 70% generally attempt suicide. And so it's a very difficult thing because generally those parts, they stay quiet, right? They just stay within the person's mind. And they don't really start to release some of those memories until these women or men, it's mostly women, are in their 30s. And all of a sudden they begin to see these visions and these memories. They hear and they feel and they see these memories and they think, why would I see that? Why would I dream that? Why would I feel that? Where is this coming from? And it's very confusing and very, very difficult until they gain an understanding and see the right therapist that correctly diagnoses them, that they can begin to work on that and communicate with those parts, where they have to develop a relationship that's trusting enough to develop a relationship with that therapist to bring those parts forward and to help them understand that they are safe now. Because they're still fighting. They still believe they're in danger and they're trying to protect the host. They're trying to protect her from the abuse when the abuse is long gone. So that's their job. And what Margi spends her time in the book, and it outlines that very well, that she ultimately has to sort of come together with her parts. And instead of fearing them, and being frightened of them because of the memories they hold, she learns to embrace them and to understand that they were just doing their job and that they need to understand that they're safe now. So in the book, it's detailed where they learn to go through a mental exercise to put their jobs aside and take new jobs. And it's all a mental exercise that she does. Still to this day, every single morning, she has to go through this exercise to help those parts settle down and feel safe for the day, to remind them that she is happy and that she's in a happy home with a wonderful husband and has beautiful children. So it's just a fascinating concept that our brains have the power and the ability to do that, to save us from something that is so traumatic that we would not even be able to survive that event.
Wow. I mean, Heidi, this is the first time I'm hearing anything firsthand about dissociative identity disorder. From what I have seen, I've probably seen something like that in a movie, and to hear that there's actually someone who has suffered from this and that person actually did get hope from reading your other books. How is Margi doing now?
She's doing great. She's been able to move forward in her life. There was a time in her 30s and early 40s that was really difficult because she was seeking a correct diagnosis and thought she was just going crazy. You would just think, why am I thinking all of this? And so eventually she finds that and has the love and the trust and the support of a husband and children who are now grown. She's a grandma now to several little grandkids who adore her. And she's living a really beautiful life with friends and family that love her. And she's such a beautiful person, both inside and out, and is an amazing light and an inspiration to me that she can, get up every day and sort of go through her mental exercises to carry on and to have an enlightened day where she can make a difference in the world. And the bravery that she has discovered in herself to be able to trust me, to really open up and to tell her story. In her words, she said to me, if I can just help one person, this will all be worth it. And we've received hundreds of emails from people all over the world who have read her story and understand now that they are not the only one, right? Or there are so many that have a relative or a friend who has dissociative identity disorder, and after reading the book, they can say, "Okay, now I have a much better understanding and a huge respect for these people that go through this in being able to move forward." So it's just been amazing. We both get emails from readers and we share them with each other and we cry together. And it's just been this amazing journey of healing for her. And what she hopes to do is to heal one person at a time, to help them see that they can do this difficult thing. They can move forward and just, cling to that. So it's just been so rewarding as an author to be trusted to tell this story the right way. Because, it could have been a Stephen King novel, and I'm not a Stephen King writer. I don't want to write those kinds of stories, right? I am an inspirational author, and I write stories, true stories of people who dig deep and rise up from the ashes of whatever they've been through and just enlighten and amaze us all. And to be trusted to tell her story and to find that hope within her story has been just really amazing. I feel like it's the best work that I've ever done. And I'm proud of it. But it was a tough journey. It was hard for me to really understand it, to learn it. She and I had to find this relationship. We had to do this dance together of trust, right? And of love, so that she could really open up and really tell me her story. And that took 2 years of learning and writing and researching and interviewing therapists and reading books. And so it's just been an amazing journey, and I'm really proud of what we've done. And I hope that we can make a small change in the world and help people see the hope in her story, see the hope in themselves if they suffer, and understand others a little bit better.
Well, thank you for sharing with us. And my hope is that more people will read your books and not only get that hope from it, but also learn about Margie's story. As you were talking, you mentioned that she has a beautiful life right now.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me about a movie that I watched several years ago called A Beautiful Mind, where the guy was a genius, but
Right.
he also had some kind of dissociative identity disorder where he was different people, I believe. And it really does touch my heart that the two of you were able to work on this together, and that we are learning that it is real, that there are people that suffer from these types of trauma, and that the mind has a way of dealing with it. And so, viewers, listeners, if you see somebody behave a certain way, don't just pass judgment. Have that empathy. Everybody is going through something in their lives. And if you can help guide the person to the right channel, to a therapist, please do, because it is a tough world out there.
Yeah. Margie, I want to add to that too. I mean, you're exactly right. And something that I've really learned in writing all of these stories, and many of them have great seasons of tragedy within them, is that when you see someone and, they're just, you're thinking to yourself, your first thought, right, is what's wrong with them, right? I like to quickly replace that in my mind to say, what happened to them? Not what's wrong with them, what happened to them.
Oh my goodness, that is so true. You know, sometimes you see somebody, the person is so angry and you don't know why. But instead of you to just think what's wrong with them, yes, it is true. We should ask what happened to them. What happened to make them that angry? What happened to make them sad? What happened to make them vengeful? Or what even happened to make them retreat into that corner that they probably are in, or into that, it's there is so much to life, and I'm grateful to you for reaching out and for sharing this story. Now, I know that we're talking about Margie's story, but you are the author of 3 books, and the 2 books actually inspired Margie to reach out to you, and they do talk about hope. And as we talk about mental health, I know that hope is so important these days. So would you please mind sharing about your 2 other books with us?
Yes, Finding Hope in the Journey is the first book that I wrote. And that book is really about how to position your heart to see and to hear and to feel those glimmers of hope that I believe God puts in our path. And sometimes it's not what we would expect. And it can be the lyrics of a song. It can be a butterfly that lands on your hand. It can be, there's so many different things, and it looks different every time. And so that book talks about all the forms and the ways that hope presents itself. And that we really, instead of going through those hard times with your head down and, looking at your feet and just trying to survive, it's about lifting your head and opening your heart and looking for those signs of hope. So it's a really uplifting read. Survey's Song is my second book. Survey is a beautiful woman from Zimbabwe, Africa, who her husband dies and she has 6 children. And she knows that the way out of poverty in Africa is education. And she doesn't even have enough money to put food on the table. So it's the story of her coming to the United States, finding work to send money back to care for the children who she's left with relatives. And it's her whole journey of adventure. There's more tragedy that comes. She finds faith and hope here in the United States. And it's just an incredible story of the gathering of her children and her finding just a true faith and hope in that. And then, of course, The Secret Keepers is titled because all of those parts were secret keepers. And Margie was a secret keeper, and her parents were secret keepers. There are so many secret keepers in her story. And I'm working on a book right now about a man from Kenya who comes from the poverty and from the slums in Kenya, and eventually returns to make a bid for president of that country. And it's like, how does a boy from the slums, do that? And then another book I'm working on is an escape from North Korea, 2 people who escaped from North Korea. So they're just incredible stories. There's nothing like true stories of what feel like an impossibility, and to just read their stories and to really understand what kind of grit is in this person that makes them, go all the way through this journey and come back and hold their head up and make a difference in the world. I love that. I'd much rather read that kind of a book than fiction any day. And so that's what I write. I write what I like to read.
Well, Heidi, thanks for sharing. And, I'm happy to learn that you wrote about this woman from Zimbabwe. I am originally from Ghana, West Africa.
Okay, yes.
Yes, and I do write too. But although my books are fiction, I can tell you that my first book, my debut novel, which is titled The Shimmigrant, is about a young girl's journey from Ghana, where she comes to America, and
yes, I've seen that.
Yes, and the children's series that are adapted after Shimmigrant, Sasha Goes to America, Sasha Perseveres, and Sasha Dreams Big. They're all, it is fiction, but it pulls from different experiences.
Oh, yes.
And so sometimes fiction also tells us some of these stories.
Right.
But it's impressive to hear that you're also writing about this man from Kenya. who lived in the slums and goes to run for president. And it kind of reminded me of President Barack Obama, whose ancestry is also from Kenya. And so thank you for sharing these human interest stories. And thank you for reminding us that it is important to care. And it is important to ask what happened instead of passing judgment on people.
Right.
Unfortunately, I can't believe our 30 minutes is already up. The time went so fast. I don't know. Yeah, but we have to have you back, Heidi.
Oh, I would love to come back.
Yes, because you are sharing hope, and that is what we need in the world right now. We need more hope with everything that's going on. Viewers, listeners, if you want to learn more about Heidi, no, I did not say that right. You have to learn more about Heidi. So go to www.HeidiTucker.com and learn about her. When you go on the margimarch.com blog, you can read her bio, but you wouldn't know about all her books and where to find them and how to find those inspirational stories. So yes, do go to our blog because we want you to learn about our other guests as well. But visit HeidiTucker.com, and Heidi's books are available everywhere books are sold. As she was telling us, she writes to motivate and also to give hope. And she shares true stories. So, everybody has a story. And when you read somebody's story or listen to that story, you know that you have something in common with somebody out there in the universe. And if you're going through any adversity out there, you know that you're not the only one.
That's right. And so often we change the details. We read something, we read about someone else, and we say, that's just like what I went through. The details are a little different. And if they can do it, so can I.
Yes. If they can do it, so can I. Because as Heidi was talking, then I was thinking about other examples. It could be a different setting. It could be Zimbabwe. It could be Kenya. It could be Ghana, Nigeria, Soweto, North Korea, South Korea. But what binds us all together is that we are human, and together we are stronger. This is actually why we have humanity chats, where we get together and talk about everyday issues that impact humans. And guests like Heidi are the kind of guests that we want to share these stories with. And so, this has been an honor. I know that our guests are enjoying our audience and listeners are enjoying the show. Thank you, Sally, for joining and for being inspired by the story. Go look up Heidi and learn about her. For everybody here today, hey, we are on all the major podcasts, Humanity Chats with Margi. Subscribe, leave a review. Tell us, go to margimarch.com, contact us. Tell us the stories that you want to hear. And, just like Heidi contacted us to share Margi's story and to share about her books, contact us too. We may have you on the show, and together we will be stronger and we will make humanity better. Heidi, I know our time is up, but if you have any words to share with our audience, I'd like to give you that opportunity to do that.
Just that I appreciate your platform, Margi, just everything that you do. I think what we all share is the desire to find hope, but we also have grit. And you mentioned that, in so many of your shows, we all have grit. It's just finding it within ourselves, digging deep to find that. And so that's what we learn from all of these stories that are on your podcasts and your YouTube channel, all of that. It just helps us to recognize that we all have that ability. There is a silver lining out there, and it's just opening your heart to find it and to recognize it within yourself and your own circumstances. But I know that every one of us has an incredible gift, and that gift is meant to be shared, to inspire and to enlighten others from our stories. So I love Margi TV, which is sharing your stories. That's what it's all about. When we can reach out and be brave and talk about what we've learned here on earth, that is going to help others. And I'm honored to be able to do that in the form of my writing.
Well, Heidi, keep writing and keep sharing your stories. I can't wait to read more of your work. And once you join the Humanity Chats family, we are connected. To those that are members of our Humanity Chats fans group, hey, watch out. We will be sharing links about Heidi's books so you can look her up. But as I said her earlier, www.HeidiTucker.com. You can learn more about Heidi over there. As always, we are very grateful to our support team. We are so honored that you guys tune in week after week just to listen to us. And for everybody who helps to make this possible, we are grateful. Humanity Chat is a conversation about everyday issues that impact humans. We're thankful to our sponsors, Innovation Abound. Shout out to the Margi TV team for the support. Now, please note, all opinions expressed in this conversation are the views of the participants. We don't intend to impose, but we're sharing. We're sharing our stories. As Heidi told you, it took her 2 years to write that story about the secret keepers. That story about Margie and how she developed the dissociative identity disorder. And so listen to these stories, feel it, hear it, know that our humanity links us together. We thank you for watching. We are grateful for you, and we will see you next week when we get to talk about creating a beautiful life with the amazing Janice Shirai Dora. I forget her last name because she got married and changed her last name on me. Yes, we're going to be talking to that amazing woman who is so beautiful, pregnant, and walking like a queen. And then we're going to get to talk to Mary, who is out of England. And she's going to be telling us about the importance of reading stories to the young ones. Oh, I'm looking forward to these amazing upcoming conversations. And I cannot wait to see you. From Heidi and myself, we wish you a happy World Mental Health Day. Go out there, be good, be humans, tap into your humanity. Together we are stronger. This has been Margie Marge with Humanity Chats.